Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We are having another episode of the Uncle Show. I am Uncle Rob. I am in Little Rock, Arkansas. Uncle Rhino is on the road. Where are you at, bruh?
We are kicking it over here in McAllister, Oklahoma. Sending a big shout out to our people over there at the Yardbird Cafe. That's a killer little local joint. Beautiful people, sweet little town.
I'm not going to ask you what you're doing over there, but I hope you had a safe trip, and I hope you have a good stay while you're there.
Oh, everything that I'm doing is always churning and working hard for the tribe.
That's what I like to hear. And speaking of the tribe, we're going to welcome a new member to the tribe today, Uncle Rhino, and I'm excited about this one, bro.
Myself.
This man has got accolades. This man he's a legend. And I'm going to tell you something. He's been with B.B. King. He's been with Albert King. He's been with Johnny Taylor. He's been with Earth, Wind, and Fire. Dude has been with Etta James, Mr. Tony Coleman. What's up?
I'm good, man. I'm good, but I never played with Earth, Wind, and Fire. I just know some of the guys. The horn section are my best buddies. I love those guys. And but anyway, man, I've been around anybody you can imagine in the music industry. I've been very fortunate. I'm like a kid in a candy store. I love music and musicians of all genres, of all around the world, man. I just love music. That's my life.
You were with B.B. King more than anybody else, though, right?
Me and the trumpet player, no one else on this planet been with B.B. longer than he and I. His name is James Boogaloo Bolden. He was a trumpet player. He was known for shaking his head more than his trumpet playing.
Well, he was a showman.
He used to have a jerry curl back in the day when black folks had a jerry curl when you made your hair pressed it and made it straighter instead of curly, and he had that jerry curl juice on it. He'd be slinging it everywhere.
That was back in the days of Soul Train with Don Cornelius.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you ever, speaking of which, you ever been on that show with any of
never have been. Never.
Always used to watch that every Saturday. Tell us a little bit.
I used to love that show.
I liked it. He had that deep voice I was telling you about, doing that Soul Train stroll. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Tony. Where you from? Where you came from? All that good stuff, man.
Well, on August 12th, 1955, double nickel. I was born in Kissimmee, Florida. People call it Kissimmee, Florida. It's right next to Orlando, Florida, right in the middle in Central Florida. It's Disney World now, but I grew up there, and all my life, as long as I can remember being alive and had a brain to think, I always wanted to be a musician. Anytime I hear music, any music, if it had drums in it, a rhythm, I would pat my hands as a little child. That's all I ever wanted to do was play drums. And I used to daydream about drumming and watch drummers. Anybody that played drums, any type of music, I wanted to do that. That's all I ever wanted to do. And I graduated from high school and joined the Army. And I was in the Army, and I put a band together in the Army and got out, went back home to Florida. I was going to school to be a commercial artist, and I was failing miserably. And the teacher said, "Why are you here? You're wasting your GI money in here. You're always writing and studying something other than what you should be. What's your deal?" I said. She said, "I think you should, whatever it is, you should go do it. What is it that you're doing?" I said, "I'm writing lyrics and I want to be a musician." And she said, "Well, that's what you need to go do." And then I went to Chicago with some musicians that we played together in the military. We had our band called Solid Funk, and the sax player was from Chicago, and he said, we were like the original Blues Brothers. "Hey, man, come on to Chicago. Let's put the band together in Chicago." And we did, and we ended up being the best. "Would you like the Biggie size that?" You know. And everybody was like, "The hell with this, man. We quit." But then I stayed and ended up working with Otis Clay, soul singer named Otis Clay, trying to live my life without you, Otis Clay.
It's the hardest thing I'll ever do.
Ever do. Yeah. And Otis ended up going to Japan and recorded his first live album in Japan, and the band was on it. And when we came back, we got on a tour with B.B. King, Bobby Blue Bland, Albert King, Muddy Waters, O.V. Wright, Betty Wright, not related. And just, it was an international blues festival. The promoter was Purvis Spann, famous black promoter in Chicago, first black man to own a radio station in Chicago, and he was a promoter. And he was the one that crowned Aretha Franklin the Queen of Soul. But anyway, at the end of that concert, we did a jam session. BB heard the rhythm section and offered us a job. Bing! And the rest is history.
And you spent, how long you spent with BB?
31 years.
Man, that is major accomplishment, man. I mean, seriously, when I knew we were getting you on, when I talked to you a couple of weeks ago, I went and watched some of your videos. I'm like, this cat is smooth, man. This guy is good. I mean, he's a professional. He's made it to the big leagues.
Yeah, it wasn't easy though. I got BB fired me 5 times. So
what? I did read that. I wasn't going to bring that up, but now that you brought it up,
why not? That's what happened. But it wasn't because I was drunk or late. It was because I would always challenge him to update himself, because BB was in old school mentality, you know, growing up down south, afraid of white people and not argumentative, whereas I was the opposite. And when things would go down that I didn't like, I always open my mouth and say something to him, and he would say, well, son, if you don't like the way I run things, you can always go home, son. All right, bye. That happened about 5 times.
But how did, okay, so when it was time, when you came back, did he call you, or did you just kind of like, hey, man, how did that work where you transitioned back into the mix?
Because I was still working out there beside him. I was working with Bobby Blue Bland. By the way, Bobby Blue Bland and B.B. King was my dad's best of friends. My dad was a disc jockey. My dad emceed the Apollo Theater and introduced a lot of Southern acts to New York, Harlem Apollo Theater. And he was a disc jockey. So disc jockeys were like gods, and they knew my dad, King Coleman, who created the dance, The Mashed Potatoes with James Brown. So when BB and Bobby Blue Bland found out that I was King Coleman's son, they kept their foot in my ass.
They'd be like, hey, your butt is coming back.
Yeah, they just protected me and taught me. And when you're young, like I was around those older guys, you know, I was very, 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 very confident in myself. And too much confidence always come off like arrogance if you don't watch it.
Yeah, you get a little cocky, man. I know what you mean. It's like, but again, your world is in front of you. You're standing up there in the drum kit, and you're looking over 30, 40, whatever thousand people, and you're like, man, I mean, you can't help but feel a little bit of something.
Oh, you have to be a idiot not to feel that and think it's all about you. I mean, come on. I mean, you take a young kid out of Kissimmee, Florida. I was like that jerk, the Jerk movie where Steve Martin goes, I was born a poor black child. Well, I was born a poor black child on welfare in Florida and grew up around racism and the civil rights struggles of this country. And my grandmother was like, you can't let that affect you. Keep your eye on the prize. And growing up black in America with all the racism and all of that crap, black people grew up with, I'm sure other people did too, but we grew up with, we have done so much with so little for so long. We can do anything with nothing.
And you, like you said, you came from nothing, and you're up at the top of I mean, BB was at the top of the game, man. I mean, he's going to be 200 years from now. People are still going to be talking about BB King. I mean, he's just one of those few people. Elvis, BB King. I mean, Liberace. I'm not into Liberace's music, but those are icons, man.
Well, these guys are like Mozart and Stravinsky and all of that. I mean, they're incredible American roots of American iconic figures. But I didn't appreciate that when I was young. I hated the blues. I didn't want to be in no blues band. I ain't thinking about no blues. I want to be with Parliament Funkadelic and Shaka Khan and Earth, Wind and Fire. That's what I wanted to be. I didn't want to be playing.
Dude wants
I've
to be
been
with
downhearted, baby.
dude wants to be with George Clinton.
Yeah. And when I was out there with BB, I didn't even really like being with BB until BB changed me. And I hope I'll give y'all time to talk. I'm just talking ramblings.
No, we're here for you, man. It's your story.
So the BB woke me up. He slapped me awake from having an attitude about working with him and blues music. One summer, every summer, BB would go to Mississippi and play out in the rural juke joints, raggedy little blues clubs out in the middle of the Delta. Every June he would dedicate 2 weeks to playing for free for all those poor people that couldn't afford to pay tickets, the ticket price. And we would be playing in raggedy buildings, leaning to the side, all got grass growing through the little stage area, and got cobwebs and dirt, all this.
Dude's got a
And I
chicken
was
coming out underneath his drum kit.
Yeah, we're on the bus. We got to dress on the bus because we're 4 hours from the nearest city. And we're on the bus, and I'm making fun of the place, making jokes about it. And I got the whole band laughing. Man, you see that dirt floor? Look like I saw a snake in the stage. And BB's sitting on the bus listening to me.
He
And the
didn't
tour
like
manager
it.
said, "All right, guys, time to go. Let's go." And we were getting ready to go to the stage. And BB said, "Tony Coleman, hold on, son. I'd like to talk to you a minute." And I said, "Yes, sir. I hear you making fun of these people and laughing about it. And you don't want to be here?" I said, "Nah, man, this is weird. Why are we playing here, man? That's a raggedy ass place." BB said, "Well, son, you've been around the world with me. You played for presidents, kings, queens, Carnegie Hall, all over the world with me. Don't you think these people deserve to see us play? Now, I'm playing for free for these people, but you're getting paid. And when you make fun of these people, you're making fun of me because this is where I'm from. And it hurts my feelings to hear you doing that. I wish you wouldn't do it, son. And I think it's terrible. If you don't like the blues, I don't understand it. We make good money, and you're black. I mean, it's our gift to the world. And you're black. You don't like being black. Why are you making fun of our music? But if you don't want to play, you can sit on the bus. We'll be fine, man. And every time I tell this story, I say, every time I tell this story, I get goosebumps thinking about it. And I was like, damn, man, I was wrong for that. And from that day forward, I said, I'm going to be the best damn blues drummer in the freaking world. I'm going to kick. And I took it so serious. I try to become the best shuffling blues drummer in the world, man. Appreciate my culture,
He gave you
And
a
that's where
different
I'm at today.
he gave you a different perspective.
In my opinion, Tony, that is proof that kings aren't born; they're built, and that's a situation where there would have never been a where you've been if it wasn't for where you're from. And y'all had covered all these great, incredible, once in a lifetime arenas and massive coliseums. But if it hadn't have been for the love and the support that started for BB, that's what he was doing, was he was bringing it back. That's what a king does, a true king, not just a BB king, but a king. They bring that
Yes.
back. And that's what he was doing. He was bringing it home. Everything they had given him, that was his way of paying tribute and homage, and coming back. And I understand that. That's kind of, for me, that's what we're trying to do with Tribe. You helped BB doing it. Now you're helping us, and this is what we're doing. Is we've been on 3 continents. I have, and I'm coming back, and I'm bringing it back to all the people in the Indies who are trying to fight to exist. I'm trying to show them how to do it the right way, and it always makes us better. You being part of it makes us better. And it helps me because the stuff that I say sometimes doesn't make sense to a lot of them, but it will when you say it and I say it.
Well, the bottom line is there is a correct way to play blues music and a wrong way. And it's like anything else. There's ingredients to doing something based on what it is But I don't care what type of music you're playing, there's an ingredient to doing it the correct way. Now you can move away from that ingredient because that's too strong for you. You don't like the flavor, the taste, but you ain't doing the main ingredient of it. And until you learn what that is and get an approval from the people who do it and been doing it and know it, you until they say you got it, put a stamp on you, you ain't playing crap right. And that's
That's
what
right.
I hear a lot of music right now that's supposed to be reggae, country music, blues, soul music, what we know as rock and roll and pop music. There's ways to do it, but now people skate across the main ways to do it. And it involves different cultures, different races. But that's what is good about music. Different races come together and we learn from each other and we become bigger and better for it. And that's what music has done for me all my life. And that's what I'm trying to do with music today.
If
I don't call BB King's music the blues personally. It's my own terminology. Of course it is, but I call BB's music American music. And I say that because we're a fusion of all these different cultures and styles who had all the different instruments before all the cultures of people collided. And it all started with people with their hands in the dirt in the fields singing and working. So that's why when I hear the purists on country music, they don't like different changes or different things, rock melodies or other. I'm telling them it's all country music. But they
I
bring
don't
blues
agree with that attitude. I don't agree with that attitude. That attitude, in my opinion, is not a good attitude to have.
on the
Simply because,
purist
well,
side. You mean on the purist
first,
side?
no, I'm talking about traditionalists like don't like versatility, don't want to try different things and learn
Mhm.
different things. I agree with you, but I don't like that. I don't endorse that attitude because first and foremost, you are where you're from. Now, based
Yes.
on the country I'm from and where I grew up, I'm an American, period.
Mhm.
First. Now, what kind of American I am? I'm an African American, Black American, whatever, but I am a type of American different from other Americans, but we are Americans.
Mhm.
And people distort that. You know, today I see people with big old flags on their trucks and things like, why are you doing that? We're all Americans here. Even if you're
Yep.
not from here and you come to this country where all of our ancestors did that, we're Americans. And it's like you don't have to wave a big old flag. I served the military for America.
Yep.
That says I'm a veteran right here.
Yep.
And I did it proudly. And we're all Americans. And the music, as a musician, we become international, and people all over the world love and respect our culture and our art. And that's what's missing today. All this America first. I don't get all this stuff that's going on right now. It's kind of bringing me back to when I grew up in Kissimmee, Florida, and I had colored water. I had to drink colored water. You know, I'm 70 years old. I mean, what are we doing, man? We this is ridiculous. But music, you, me, and us who do music, whatever kind of music you do, American music, we always are inclusive, not exclusive. And BB was like that. He loved and respected people of all ranges, all lifestyles, and that's what musicians are. If I see somebody with a banjo, I'm like, hey man, I want to learn how to play that. And I'm a black man, and then and didn't even realize a banjo was an African instrument.
Boom. Came from Africa.
So, so we gotta have teach history and learn from each other and become better and stronger together. We got to be stronger together, man. Together. That's why I love country, blues, rock and roll, rap, heavy metal, light metal, pedal. I don't care. Pedal steel. I love music, but I
When you
just happen to be successful in black blues, American roots music.
well, you're successful in country too, because the legendary country artists they have the same. Those who've been around the block, the ones that reached legendary status, they understand the truth of what we're speaking right now. And for me, I harp on this with the pups because people think that country music just has a fiddle or a steel, and I go back to the beginning where you had people who worked in the dirt and they had sweat on their face and they were singing spiritual hymns, and that broke into two folk directions, which was, as BB said, blues and country were the same thing, just had a different G chord. Well, when you split on that and you got blues on going one way and country going the other, coming out of the same place, which was spiritual hymns and then became gospel, and then you've got country and blues coming out of that. And that gives birth to rock and roll and all the other stuff and jazz, just growing out of that. And it continued to evolve. But when somebody comes to me with EDM, with heavy metal, with hip hop, with whatever they're coming to me, and they're incorporating it into country music, and all these people are up in arms, that's when I stop the room and I say, that's just the kids coming home. That's all
Yeah.
that is. All evolved from people in the dirt. And if it's coming back to the country, it's just music coming home. It's the kids coming home. So you should never, ever, ever, in a true mansion of music, there's no room for walls. And there should
Well,
never
Willie
be
Nelson,
yeah,
you're
same.
you're you're correct. You are correct. You are correct what you're saying. Willie Nelson and I was talking. He said, well, Tony, it's two kind of music in the world here today in America. It's the Star Spangled Banner and the blues. Okay, so get all y'all high sign attitudes about you own America. America is ours. We're all Americans. And like he said, when you're from here, it's the Star Spangled Banner and the blues. Now that's what Willie Nelson said. If y'all want to fuss with Willie Nelson, you got a problem. Everybody loves Willie Nelson, just like
Yeah.
BB, because they believe in humanity over insanity.
But they're realist. They
Yes.
realize what's real and what is fabricated or what is just out there. I mean, those kind of folks grew up in a different era than what's going on today. So they still got that concept, that core. So when you were hanging out with BB, what kind of guy was BB? Was he pretty good? Hey, laid back, all cool,
BB was
or
BB was too nice. He was too nice. BB loved his fans, loved them. When I tell you that man loved and appreciated his fans, I don't know anybody in my lifetime that was that way with fans. BB was extremely over the top with it. Now, when we're out on the road in our tour buses are our home out on the road, riding in those tour buses. All our private business is on that bus when we're not at the hotel. That bus is our house. BB, after the show, would invite his fans to come on the front door of his bus to the back, through his bus to the back, and meet every single one of them and sign autographs and talk to people for 3 hours after the show until everybody got a chance to say hello. And a lot of times we wouldn't travel by ourselves and meet BB. We traveled together. So we had to wait for BB to finish meet and greet. And we'd be like, man, how many left? Oh, it looks like 100 more. We go, God dang, man. And then they get on the radio and say, all right, we're getting ready to go. And then BB's bus back out. And our bus back out. And we're getting ready to get on the highway. And then the BB's bus stopped. Some people on the sidewalk, BB, he see him out of his back window and tell the driver, stop and let those people come up here and say hello. I'd be like, God dang, man.
stopping everything. Y'all ready to
That's
get
the way
y'all,
he
y'all
was.
ready to get on down the road?
Yeah, BB, if you don't think that man wasn't concerned about the audience, if he sees somebody sitting down there and not smiling or getting into his song, he's playing for that person until that person, he's gonna make that person smile. He's that was his job, to make everybody feel happy.
You know what though?
He was the best at that.
That says a lot about him as a person, though. We talk about with our independent artists. Rhino always talks about connection. got to connect with that audience. I mean, when they come to
Yes,
see
sir.
you, you got
Yes,
to
sir.
connect. They got to feel their self in your song and you. And if he had the right concept, 100%, make sure everybody's happy. Now, again, like you said, you could probably go over the top a little bit, but there's not a single person that left that concert that was probably thinking, man, dude is stuck up, man. He didn't want to sign the autographs. He never said hi. He
Oh,
never
I
did any
see
of
it.
that.
I see it. I could name a list of them. I see them. They
Yep.
got
Well, well,
entourages. They
well,
got some big.
I've been to
They got some
concerts
big.
where people you are lined up at the front of the stage and they sing their stuff. They're gone. They don't ever think about waving to the crowd. They're done. And I'm like,
Man, not only that, I've seen artists. I've been around them in backstage areas or what have you with famous, really famous people, and a fan or two. Hey, such and such. God, got some big guy. Hey, get back, my man. And they look and come on, let's go. Shh. We just go, wow, that's
Yeah.
cold blooded, man.
well,
We
because
were.
I'll give
you're
you
not
another
used to that.
example. I'll give you another example, and then I'll get off of this subject. But I remember one time in Seattle, man. We just came from Victoria, BC on the island, connecting in Seattle, headed to LA, and we're sitting at the gate. BB wasn't sitting in the special room. He sit at the gate with everybody else, just sit there, and BB will be on his laptop looking at stuff. And one person come up, excuse me, Mr. King. Yes, could I get a photo? Could you? Sure, sign. Yeah, sure. You sign it. Guy go away. Here come another. Here come two. Here come three. Here's 20. Here's 25 feet, 30 people at the gate. And BB sitting there talking to them all and signing autographs and asking them questions about their life. And I'm sitting there going, damn. And we get on the plane and I'm sitting there and I see him up, we're up there at the first class or what have you. And I say, hey, I want to ask you a question. What is it, son? I said, man, don't that get on your nerves when people do that to you? What do you mean, get on my nerves? I said, don't you get tired of doing that sometimes? He's shut his laptop. Now, why would I get tired of that, son? If it wasn't for those people, we wouldn't be here now working, and we wouldn't be able to eat. You look like you eat pretty good. I can tell you like to eat. You like to eat, don't you? So if I don't want to do that, I'll stay home. Would you like me to stay home? Carry on.
He's got
That's what I thought, son.
he's got a way of putting you back in line.
Well,
Oh yeah.
he is one, especially through the era that he came up. He's one of those that was developed like God was the master craftsman when he was making BB, and all those that came up during that time, and those people had the long relationship with the public because they had connected. The people saw themselves and they idolized them, but once the people realized that they're just like you, then the people were rooting for them because they were just like them, and therefore they were rooting for themselves. And BB was their champion. He became one of them. And when the cool thing about that is you meet people from all over the planet, but it's like with Tony. When Tony meets somebody from Germany and he asks them about themselves, they're not expecting him to ask them about themselves. They're
No, they
just,
don't.
they want to come see him. Well, when you show that interest and that small, tiny investment in them, and you make them feel special, you make them feel remarkable, and every person was a 1 in 8 billion masterpiece we all
I
make
love
them.
it.
Yeah, yes.
I
But
love
you,
I love
when
to to,
when they meet
to
you,
say hello to people and
they get to meet
go ahead.
Kissimmee,
Go
Florida.
ahead.
Every place you've been from, every place you've been, what makes you a masterpiece, they get to see it. And now they've connected with you. And for the rest of their lives, you might forget it because you meet so many, but they're going to remember it for the rest of their lives, and it'll be a happy memory. And what an honor it is to give them that. And it was only 5 minutes of your time.
Yes. I remember one time when I was a fan. Well, I'm a fan of all music, like I say, even today. If I see a tour bus anywhere, if I see a tour bus idling or parked, I'm gonna knock on the window and say, "Hey, man, who you rolling with? I want to know who's there. I might be somebody I know, what have you, whatever." But I'm excited. I'm a fan of music and musicians. I'm a fan. I want to meet everybody and say, hey, and I've done that in my lifetime. And some people have slammed the bus door in my face. Hey, man, get away. Bam. Man, they don't even know who I am, man. I'm just another musician wanted to say hello. But I'm just saying, I love all musicians, even the ones aren't professional. But but I'm a hard ass on musicians who don't want to listen and pay attention to what I know, and because I got it from the best, not only BB, Bobby Bland, James Brown, Etta James, Coco Taylor, Buddy Guy, everybody, Willie Nelson, Jamie Johnson, all of that. I mean, hey man, you gotta open your eyes and your ears and keep that mouth tight sometime, you know. And I got a big mouth, but I know when to shut it down. I know when to listen and learn.
But I bet at the beginning you didn't know that. It took you a
I
minute.
did not. No, I did not, because I was young and dumb and full of what we don't want to say.
Yeah, it's a G-rated show.
Yes,
We get,
they'll figure. Somebody will explain.
I'm sure.
Yes.
So,
Somebody will talk them through it.
so let me ask you a question. If Tony Coleman would not have got into music, what were you gonna do, man? What was your backup plan?
I didn't have a backup plan, but if I did, I'm sure it would probably be art, drawing, designing, and doing art. I loved that ever since I was a kid.
You still like on your relaxation time, you draw and you kind of paint or anything like that?
No, but I'm thinking about it. But that would have been the other thing that I would have. I was going to school for commercial art to learn how to be a art business, you know. But music always took precedent over everything. That's all I ever wanted to do. I used to draw little stick bands with me on a little drum kit when I was a kid.
You'd be like, "That's me, man." You'd be telling the kids when you were in school, "I'm gonna be somebody someday. Just check
I
this
used
out."
to say that,
And they're
and
probably
they
like,
used to say,
"Whatever, Tony."
yeah, exactly. They say, "Man, what is his problem? He's a big daydreamer."
TC, you need to
Well,
get a real job.
exactly. How many times I hear that?
But you know
Yep.
what? You made your first choice. You made it to where you didn't have to have a backup plan. So many people can't say that.
God led the way. It
Oh,
wasn't on me. It
absolutely.
was God. God, the spirit, the good, positive God spirit in me, and my grandmother raising me to, you know, if you're gonna do it, do it. If you're gonna talk about it, you gotta walk about it. My grandmother whatever you put your mind, if you whatever you believe, you can conceive, but you gotta keep your eye on the prize. Don't divert
Don't
your
get
attention.
diverted. Don't get into the wrong elements.
No, I've always been an independent thinker. My spirit independent. You can't lead me to a trough and make me drink water. If I don't want it, I ain't gonna do it.
But man, I tell you
Cause
what,
I know what's good for me. I know what's good for me. I don't care what's good for you. I know I'm talking about what's good for me. I ain't worried about what you do. As long as you're respectful to me and I'm respectful to you, I don't care. I don't care about all that nonsensical stuff. All I'm gonna do is be respectful to you and you be respectful to me. I ain't gotta think like you. I ain't gotta eat like you, look like you, talk like you. You're a human being. I'm a human being, and you got your way. I got my way.
and neither one's right and neither one's wrong. I mean, it's just what works for you.
No, no, no. There's a lot of wrong now. There's a lot of wrong. I just don't get along with the wrong. That's all. I mean, there's a thin line about I'm doing me, but make sure you're not doing wrong. A lot of people do wrong things now. I just don't gravitate toward that wrong stuff. If I didn't have integrity, I'd probably have two helicopters and a Learjet right now.
Yeah.
You're staying humble. You're staying rooted.
Because Art Blakey told me one time in July of '85 in Europe, jazz drummer Art Blakey. Look him up, folks, if you don't know who he is. But Art Blakey said to me one time, "Look, young man, never try to play for another musician. Play for the audience and the person that hired you. And enjoy, have fun doing it. And live your life and have a good time because I never seen a Wells Fargo truck following a hearse."
Hey, that's a good way of putting it. It's a good way of putting it. You probably have met you've probably met a million people, man. That we could only.
Millions, millions.
You ever work with Pat Zomino?
On not in his band, but we shared stages together. I knew him. I knew Mr. Domino.
Sammy Davis Jr.,
Absolutely. Met him too.
Frank Sinatra, all those cool people.
I did. I met him in Atlanta at the Hyatt Hotel on the elevator. He and his manager on the elevator. I get on the elevator and Frank Sinatra's on the elevator. Mr. Sinatra and I had on a BB King tour jacket. He said, I said, "How you doing, Mr. Sinatra?" He said, "I'm fine. How you doing? You were BB King? I see your jacket." I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "You guys played?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Tell BB hi. I know BB very well." And he started telling me stories. The elevator door opened, and he said, "Wait a minute, hold on a minute." And I rode up to the floor where he was and talked to him. I've done that with millions of people, famous people.
The one that I mean, obviously, I wished I'd have met Bobby because I never did, and I wished I'd have met BB and I never got to. We were at a couple of award shows where BB was there, but I never got the opportunity to meet him. One person who was underrated, who did so much for the music business that people have no idea, was Little Richard, and I wished I had met
I knew
him.
Mr. Richard well.
I
Knew him
never
well.
Oh, what kind of guy was he? Because people don't know what all he did that changed music forever, especially American music.
Well, we did a tour. Little Richard, BB King, Jerry Lee Lewis, and Chuck Berry. We toured in Europe together. Call it the Kings of Rock and Roll tour.
Mm.
And Mr. Richard was funny. He was a funny guy. He was funny. But he had a lot of stories, a lot of great stories, but he was very, very, very upset that he never got acknowledged and for his contributions to music. You know, he was on the Grammys one time, and when you can see it on YouTube, he was going to announce a Grammy winner for something. He said, "And the winner is me. I'm the winner. Y'all ain't never gave me nothing. I'm the architect of rock and roll. Y'all ain't gave me nothing. When y'all gonna give me an award?" You know, and
I remember
that's
seeing
true.
that, man. I remember seeing that, and I was like, I felt bad for the guy because he's more than just Tutti Frutti, his Tutti Frutti song. I mean, he's a lot.
Well, people don't know.
This is why that's why, Unc, you asking me questions, Unc. This is why we need people like myself to give history, and not from what I heard, from what I know. History is very, very important. People don't appreciate things if they don't know where it came from and how it happened and what happened. And it's important. That makes you awake. That makes you awake because you're learning something.
People
Yeah,
don't
he was
realize,
great. He was funny.
you know, and this is for Rob, but just quick thing, and Tony can correct me if I'm wrong, because in case I am, but to my knowledge, I believe Little Richard he found two bands when he was over in England, and both of them were broke. They couldn't even buy dinner, so he fed them, and he took them
It was
brought
the Beatles. The Beatles was his backing band.
That was one, and then the other one was the Rolling Stones.
The Rolling Stones.
Yeah, and so those are the two bands that Little Richard broke and brought to the States. Then, additionally, his guitar player went on to be Little Richard's guitar player. He set him up for success and launched him. You remember who that was?
Jimi Hendrix.
Yes, sir. You know who his other backup
That's where
singer?
Jimi Hendrix. That's when Jimi Hendrix started dressing flamboyant because of Little Richard.
And then
He
tell
watched
him
Little
about
Richard.
Tell him about his backup singers that he launched.
Say again.
Tell him about his backup singers. His backup singers, Little Richard's backup singers. He set two of them up for huge success too.
I don't know who is that.
James Brown, and I thought,
Oh! I was thinking females. I'm sorry.
I
Yeah,
was
James
too.
Brown.
no,
Yeah, I was
James,
like, what backgrounds?
yeah, and
Well,
I think
James Brown and Otis Redding knew him very well back then. They were from Georgia, the same area out there in Augusta and Macon, Georgia.
Otis was the other. So it was Otis and James Brown and Jimi Hendrix and the Beatles
Yeah.
and the Rolling Stones. And I'm sure there are others, but those specifically the ones that I always like. So you got a man, if there hadn't been for a Little Richard, you probably wouldn't have had any of those others.
I could see why he'd be upset about not getting recognized for anything, to be honest with you.
It
Well,
upset me.
that's why I don't take these award things serious anymore. I don't really care about it because I know my work, and I've never been nominated or even acknowledged as one of the best drummers in blues and soul music, and I know that I am. And people don't. I feel like Little Richard. What about me? Tony Coleman. Nobody. I have to toot my own horn.
Damn it.
Because if I
There he
don't,
goes.
nobody else gonna toot it. I work with every major blues and soul artist that exists in my lifetime. Every one of them, from playing with them, recording with them, and when they come up, the best blues drummer or whatever, I'm one of the best. I'll challenge anybody that want to play a shuffle against me. I'll be like Muhammad Ali. Come on, bring it. But I'm simply saying I never get acknowledged or get appreciated for that. But I used to get pissed off about it. Now I don't care. I'm 70 years old. I'm like, whatever. What the hell? I know. Just get on the stage with me. I'll show you. But it's pretty sad when people just think awards mean something. They don't really mean anything. They don't mean anything.
Not
Like
anymore.
like Art Blakey say, I never seen people's caskets packed with awards.
Nope.
What? Who did you look up as a drummer? Who did you look up to when you were coming up? Was there somebody that I want to be like this guy? I want to.
The guy out there on that tractor, any drummer I see. I don't have no I want to be like. I just have inspiration of I want to be as good as. Every drummer I see is great. Karen Carpenter, though, but I'll be more specific. Buddy Miles, Karen Carpenter, Levon Helm,
Don Henley.
the drummer. Sorry,
Don Henley, Phil
Don
Collins.
Henley. No, not Phil Collins. He didn't make me want to be a drummer. I was already drumming. I'm talking about people who I saw before I got into business. But Phil Collins wasn't one of those guys I go, wow, I want to do that. I respect Phil Collins, of course. He was successful, but he wasn't my favorite flavor. I mean, like McDonald's is successful too, but I don't like that either. But let's take that out. I don't want to say no. I don't like McDonald's. But I'm simply saying
We're not
I'm
endorsed. Hey,
inspired.
we're not endorsed by anybody, so it is what it is.
But
You're
I'm
just speaking the truth.
But anybody I see play drums, whether it's a little kid, if I see a drummer, I'm watching him and I'm inspired by that. But of course, Karen Carpenter and Buddy Miles, I would say, were the main ones, and any drummer from James Brown band. That's what I want to.
What about them spoke to you so much?
The fact that Karen Carpenter, she was singing and playing, and her voice was great, and she could play the drums and sing so beautifully, and she was a female, and she was just great on the drums. Whereas back in that day when she started out, not many females were well-known drummers, and then after her came, the Sheila E's and others, but I always used to see the Carpenters, and then they took her off the drum kit, and she had to be out front. And I think that's what made her anorexic, because she was insecure about her looks because Hollywood was all about looks. You need to lose weight. Let's make you put a gown on. You got to be slim and trim. And I think that made her become anorexic. If she would stay behind the drum kit, she would have been badass for a long time. And Buddy Miles, he was just strong and soulful and sung soulful and gospely. And I'm doing a tribute to Buddy Miles. I'm putting a band together. I'm gonna have a 10-piece band. We're gonna celebrate Buddy Miles. But Ringo Starr, any drummer, all drummers that I'll have a little help from my friends. Ooh, I want to have a little help from my friends. Whatever. When I see a drummer singing and playing, I'm like, yeah, man, I like that.
See, I thought it'd be difficult to be a drummer and sing, keep the tempo, and still be able to sing. I'm not musically inclined. That's why I play music on the radio because I'm not talented that way. But have you tried to sing and play drums?
Tried to sing and play drums. Talk to this man. What are you talking about? Trying to play?
Yeah.
Do that, man. I got 5 albums of my own out there.
Well,
Yeah.
on the albums, I didn't know if you would be doing the drum part and singing at the same time you're doing it. I mean, a lot of times in the studio now they record everything separate.
But you still got to
I
do
was
it.
playing and singing, right? And the first guy that helped me do it, rest his soul, was named Barb Greenlee. He started a little label down in Florida, in Sanford, Florida, called King Snake Records. He was friends with Greg Allman and stuff, and we used to go in the studio, Greg Allman and everybody. And then Bob said, "TC, you got to do your own album." So I'd be sitting down behind the kit. He said, "Man, the drums are going to be in your vocal mic." I said, "I don't care." He said, "Well, it's just going to be difficult to mix. So you got to stand up and sing." I said, "Well, okay." So when I was behind the drums, I'd be singing like, "The blues had a baby. They called it rock and roll. I like my blues funky with a whole lot of soul. The blues." Then I stand up and I'd be like, "The blues had a baby. They called it rock and roll." And he said, "Tony, you got to sing, man. You got to sing." I go, "Man, I'm singing." He said, "Wait a minute, hold on." So he brought the drum seat in the booth and handed me some drumsticks. He said, "Now sing," and I did it better.
You had to have the tempo going.
No, I had to feel like I was playing drums. I'm not good standing there without my drums.
A lot of guitar players have that problem too. Once they don't have that piece, they feel like something's missing. You were really the
I feel
whole
like
thing.
I'm naked. I feel
Yeah.
like I'm naked, man.
You walk around with a pair of drumsticks in your back pocket all the time?
No, I just wear them around my neck.
There you go. I like that necklace. That's sweet. That's pretty cool, bro.